The unseen betrayal of the camera felt heavier than usual in Lena's hands as she stared at the 2 pink lines on the pregnancy test. After 3 years of hoping, it had finally happened. She pressed a hand to her stomach, her heart swelling with quiet joy. But the moment was bittersweet. Daniel had been distant for months, buried in work, always too tired for conversation, let alone intimacy. She tucked the test into her pocket just as her phone buzzed. Ethan's name flashed on the screen. "Tell me you're free this weekend," he said without preamble. "The Horizon Tech Summit needs a last-minute photographer. Pays triple your usual rate." Lena hesitated. She'd built her career capturing endangered species in remote jungles, not corporate events. But since moving back to the city for Daniel's career, she'd taken whatever gigs paid the bills. "What's the catch?" "It's in Chicago. Starts tomorrow." She checked her calendar. "Daniel was supposed to be in Seattle all weekend. Send me the details." The next morning, Lena moved through the summit's glittering crowd, her press badge granting her invisibility. She captured tech moguls shaking hands, investors sipping champagne, panelists debating ethics and AI, all while her mind wandered to the life growing inside her. Then she saw him, Daniel, her husband, who was supposed to be across the country. Stood near a fountain, his tall frame unmistakable. Her fingers tightened around her camera as a woman approached him. Sophia, his new PR director. The same woman who called at odd hours with urgent work questions. Lena's breath hitched as Sophia straightened Daniel's tie, her fingers lingering. Then, with a familiarity that made Lena's stomach twist, Daniel pulled her close, his lips meeting hers in a kiss that was anything but professional. Her hands trembled. But years of photographing skittish wildlife had trained her to stay steady. She raised her camera. Click. The shutter captured what her heart couldn't yet accept. The hotel room was too quiet. Lena sat on the edge of the bed, her camera resting beside her like a silent witness. The glow of her laptop screen illuminated the images she had taken, each one a sharp, undeniable truth. Waist, their lips meeting in the shadow of a potted palm. The way his thumb traced her jawline, a gesture Lena recognized. He used to do the same to her. Her phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "Meeting's running late. Call you tomorrow." She exhaled sharply, her fingers hovering over the screen. 3 years ago, she would have replied with a heart emoji. Tonight she typed, "Nothing." Instead, she opened a new email, attached 12 of the clearest photos, and scheduled it to send at 9 a.m. tomorrow, just as her flight landed back home. The subject line was simple. "I see you," Ethan answered on the first ring. "Tell me you're not still at that summit," he said, his voice thick with sleep. "I need a lawyer." Pause, then sheets rustling as he sat up. "What happened?" Lena closed her eyes. "Daniel's been sleeping with his PR director." "Jesus," Ethan exhaled. "You're sure?" She almost laughed. "I have photos." "Of course you do." "A beat? I'll call Mira Patel. She's ruthless in divorce cases." Lena's hand drifted to her stomach. "I'm pregnant." Silence. Then Ethan's voice, softer. "Does he know?" "No." She swallowed. "And he won't. Not yet." The flight home was a blur. Lena kept her phone off until the wheels touched down. When she finally turned it on, the notifications flooded in missed calls, frantic texts from Daniel. "Where are you?" "What?" "We need to talk. It's not what you think." "Last one, sent 10 minutes ago. Please." She deleted them all. The house was empty when she arrived. Daniel's sleek, minimalist decoral cold metals and sharp edges felt like a stranger's home. She moved through it mechanically, packing a duffel bag with essentials. Her passport. Her favorite lens, the worn copy of On Photography her father had given her. She left her wedding ring on Daniel's nightstand. Beside it, she placed a single printed photo, the clearest one. Him and Sophia tangled together on the terrace. The garage door rumbled open just as she zipped her bag shut. Daniel's keys clattered to the floor when he saw her. "Lena," he looked wrecked. His tie was loose, his hair disheveled, as if he'd been running his hands through it for hours. She slung the duffel over her shoulder. "I'll have my lawyer contact yours." "Wait," he stepped forward, his voice cracking. "It was a mistake." Mistakes happen once. She adjusted the strap of her camera bag, her grip steady. You've been lying to me for months. His jaw tightened. You were never here. Always off on some assignment. I gave up assignments for you. Her voice stayed quiet, but it cut. I shot weddings and corporate events so you could build your company. And the second I was pregnant, you found someone else. Face paled. She didn't answer. Just walked past him, out the door, into the crisp morning air. The click of her car door locking sounded like a period at the end of a sentence. Mira. Patel's office smelled like espresso and ambition. You're in a strong position, Mira said, flipping through Lena's photos. These are thorough. Lena sipped her tea. I'm a photographer. Mira smirked, and he's an idiot. She tapped the desk. We'll file for divorce first. Yes. The pregnancy gives you leverage, but only if you want it to. Don't. Lena set down her cup. I don't want his money, just my freedom. Myra studied her. You're sure? She thought of the baby growing inside her. Of the life she'd almost lost in Daniel's shadow? Yes. Ethan's spare room was small but bright, with a view of the city's skyline. Lena set up her laptop on the desk, transferring the summit photos into 2 folders, eventportfolio.evidence.her. Phone buzzed. Daniel again. She silenced it. A knock at the door. Ethan leaned in, holding a steaming mug. Chamomile. For the nerves, she took it, the warmth seeping into her hands. I should feel worse. Why? Because I'm not. Crying. Because I'm already thinking about my next project. She shook her head. What does that say about me? Ethan sat beside her. It says you've been grieving this marriage for a long time. You just didn't know it yet. Outside, the sun dipped below the buildings, painting the room in gold. Lena picked up her camera, turned it over in her hands. Then she began to plan. The ultrasound gel was cold against Lena's skin. She held her breath as the wand glided over her stomach. The grainy screen flickering to life. A tiny bean-shaped silhouette pulsed in the static. Thump, thump, strong heartbeat. Dr. Hart said, smiling. Everything looks perfect, Lena exhaled, her fingers trembling as she pressed them to her lips. For the first time in weeks, something unclenched in her chest. Her phone buzzed in her purse, another email from Mira. Daniel's lawyers are stalling. They want to discuss terms in person. She deleted it. Ethan's gallery was tucked between a coffee shop and a vintage bookstore. Its windows filled with sweeping landscapes Lena had taken years ago. Back when her world was jungles and mountain ranges, instead of court dates and custody worries. You're glowing, Ethan said, handing her a decaf latte. Pregnancy suits you. She snorted. I've thrown up 4 times today. Still, you look alive. He hesitated. Have you told Daniel about the baby? The latte burned her tongue. No. Are you going to? She watched a couple pause outside the gallery, pointing at her photo of a snow leopard mid-leap. Eventually, but not until the divorce is final. Ethan nodded. Smart. A notification popped up on her phone, a calendar reminder for her first prenatal class. You're doing this alone? She reminded herself. But the thought didn't scare her as much as it should have. The courtroom was all polished wood and echoing. Footsteps. Daniel sat across from her, his lawyer murmuring in his ear. He looked thinner, his suit just slightly too loose, as if he'd forgotten to eat. When their eyes met, he opened his mouth, then closed it. Mira slid a paper across the table. Our terms. Daniel's lawyer scanned it. This is generous, Lena. Kept her voice steady. I don't want your company shares. No, just the house sold and my half of the assets. Daniel flinched. You're keeping the baby from me? No. She met his gaze. I'm protecting her. The gavel came down. Just like that. She was free. The darkroom smelled like chemicals and nostalgia. Lena dipped the photo paper into the developer, watching as an image emerged, her own silhouette. Pregnant and barefoot in Ethan's kitchen, backlit by dawn light. A self-portrait. A reclamation. She pinned it up to dry, then reached for the next negative. This one was harder. Daniel and Sophia frozen in their embrace. For a long moment, she stared at it. Then, with deliberate hands, she snipped it down the middle, separating them forever. The The scraps floated into the trash, like falling leaves. The contraction started at 3 a.m. Lena gripped the edge of the bathroom sink, breathing through the pain. Ethan drove like a man possessed, running 2 red lights while she cursed through clenched teeth. "You're doing great," Dr. Hart said, as Lena crushed her hand. Just a few more pushes, sweat dripped into her eyes. She thought of Daniel Love. How he'd promised to be here for this. Then a cry split the air, small, furious, perfect. Dr. Hart placed the squirming, pink-faced baby on Lena's chest. "Meet your daughter." Tears blurred Lena's vision as tiny fingers wrapped around hers. "Aria," she whispered. The name tasted like a new beginning. The first months were a haze, sleeplessness and wonder. Aria's cries pierced the night. Her smiles melted Lena's exhaustion. The apartment filled with Baby Gura rocking chair, a pile of tiny socks, a camera permanently set to video mode. One rainy afternoon, as Aria napped, Lena scrolled through her old photos. Snow leopards, storm clouds, a life that felt lifetimes away. Her finger hovered over Daniel's contact. She should know her father, a voice whispered, but not yet, not until Lena was strong enough to share her. She opened a new project file instead. Title: Maternal. The first photo loaded Aria's fist curled around her thumb. Lena began to work. The gallery walls were too white. Lena adjusted the final framed photograph, a self-portrait of her nursing Aria, at 3 a.m. Bathed in the blue glow of a nightlight, the composition was raw, her tangled hair, the dark circles under her eyes, the way her daughter's tiny hand pressed against her collarbone like an anchor. "People don't show this part," Ethan murmured beside her. "That's why I did." She stepped back, tilting her head. The maternal series wasn't pretty. It was cracked nipples and clenched teeth. The way a woman's body could be both battlefield and sanctuary. Her phone buzzed. "An unknown number, Ms. Moretti?" "This is Vivian Reed. I'd like to see the exhibit." Lena's thumb hovered over the screen. Daniel's mother had sent a christening gift months ago, a silver rattle with Aria's initials, but they'd never spoken. She typed back, "Openings at 7, Vivian arrived precisely on time." Her charcoal suit cutting through the crowd of bohemian artists. She paused in front of each photo, her expression unreadable. When she reached the centerpiece, a triptych of Lena's C-section scar, healing over weeks, she touched her own abdomen absently. "You documented everything," Vivian said. When Lena approached, "I'm a photographer." Vivian's gaze flickered to a nearby image of Aria's first bath, the watermark Moretti bold in the corner. "She has Daniel's chin." Lena's spine stiffened. "Yes." A beat of silence. Then Vivian reached into her bag and slid an envelope across. "The table, from his therapy sessions. He asked me to give it to you." Lena didn't touch it. "Is this a legal move?" "No." Vivian's voice softened. "It's a man realizing what he threw away." Across the room, Aria giggled in Ethan's arms. Reaching for a balloon, Vivian's eyes glistened. "May I?" Lena hesitated, then nodded. The envelope sat unopened for 3 days. She finally ripped it open during a midnight feeding. Aria's warm weight dozing against her chest. Inside were 2 things. A printed email from Daniel to his therapist. Thought ambition was the only thing that mattered. "I hear my daughter laughed for the first time today. I wasn't there to see it." A photo Lena had never seen Daniel. Asleep on their couch years ago, her own hand blurred in the corner. As she took the shot, on the back, in his messy scrawl, "You always saw me better than I saw myself." Aria stirred, her tiny fist curling against Lena's heartbeat. She tucked the letter away. Not yet. The knock came at noon on a Tuesday. Daniel stood on her doorstep, holding a potted orchideria's birth flower. He looked older, softer. "I heard about the exhibit." Lena blocked the doorway. "She's napping. I didn't come for her." He swallowed. "I came to apologize." Properly. The silence stretched. A breeze carried the scent of rain from the street. Lena stepped aside. They sat at her kitchen table, the orchid between them like a peace offering. Daniel's fingers traced a water stain. "On the wood, I thought success would fill the hole. It just made it bigger." Outside, a siren wailed. Arya's monitor crackled with sleepy sighs. Lena studied him, the new lines around his eyes. The way his wedding ring tan had faded. Therapy. Every week. He met her gaze, not asking for forgiveness, just ... a chance to be her father. On your terms. Arya's cry floated through the monitor. Lena stood. Wait here. She returned with the baby cradled against her shoulder. Arya's cheek flushed from sleep. Itch Daniel's breath caught. Her eyes yours, Lena admitted. He reached out, then stopped. Can I? Lena hesitated, then carefully transferred Arya into his arms. Daniel's hands trembled. Arya blinked up at him, curious. When she grabbed his finger, he laughed wetly. Strong grip, like her dad. The words slipped out before Lena could stop. Daniel's throat worked. Thank you. She didn't say I forgive you. Didn't say we'll be a family. But she took a photo of them, then Daniel's head bent over their daughter. Sunlight catching the silver in his hair. A moment of grace. Possibility. The maternal exhibit sold out. Critics called it a revolution in portraying motherhood. Lena framed the review next to Arya's crib. That night, as she rocked her daughter to sleep, her phone lit up with a text from Daniel. Would it be okay if I came by Saturdays? Just for an hour? Arya sighed in her arms, her eyelashes fluttering. Against chubby cheeks, Lena typed back, 10 a.m., bring coffee. Then she turned off the lights, breathing in the scent of baby shampoo and new beginnings. The jungle breathed around her. Lena adjusted the camera strap, digging into her shoulder, sweat trickling down her back as she tracked the movement in the canopy. 3 weeks into the Borneo expedition, and her instincts were sharp again, the old rhythm of waiting, watching, seeing, settling into her bones like it had never left. A rustle, a flash of orange fur there. She raised her lens just as the mother orangutan emerged, a baby clinging to her chest. Through the viewfinder, Lena watched the infant reach for a low-hanging fruit, its tiny fingers mirroring Arya's grip on her necklace that morning. The memory was so vivid she almost missed the shot. Click. Got it? Whispered Raj, her guide. Lena nodded, showing him the display. The mother primate stared back, protective and fierce. Raj grinned. That's your cover shot. Her satellite phone buzzed in her pack. 1 bar of service, just enough for a text from Ethan. Arya took 3 steps today. You'll get the video tonight. Daniel cried. Lena's laugh startled a parrot into flight. The makeshift darkroom in Raj's supply hut smelled of vinegar and damp earth. Lena pinned up the day's negatives. The images of orangutans and emerald ferns bleeding into existence under the red light. A shadow filled the doorway. You're missing dinner, said Mateo, the conservationist from Madrid who'd joined them. Last week, he leaned against the frame, his rolled-up sleeves revealing forearms dusted with ink's scientific illustrations of extinct birds. Lena wiped developer off her hands. I'll catch up. Mateo stepped closer, examining her work. You. Shoot with empathy. Rare in wildlife photography. She tensed. Flirtation was the last thing she needed, but he merely pointed to a shot of the mother orangutan grooming her baby. This one. It's not just documentation, it's a story. The way he said it, respectful, observant, made her shoulders relax. Mothers are universal. So are second chances. He nodded at the photo beneath it. Daniel holding Arya at the zoo last month. Her tiny hand pressed to the glass as a gorilla infant mirrored her on the other side. Lena exhaled. Complicated. Mateo smiled. Then you'll appreciate this. He pulled a bottle of decent whiskey from his pack. For when you're ready to celebrate your National Geographic spread, she laughed, confident, aren't you? I know, Art. His eyes crinkled. Also, Raj bet me $50. For the first time in years, Lena felt light. Boston's autumn air was crisp after the jungle's humidity. Lena tightened her scarf as she pushed open the door to Ethan's gallery, her duffel heavy with undeveloped film. Mommy. Arya barreled into her legs, now sturdy enough to run. Lena scooped her up, breathing in the candy-sweet scent of toddler. Shampoo. Did you walk for Uncle Ethan? Ron Daniel corrected from the doorway. He looked healthier, his beard trimmed, the shadows gone from under his eyes. Arya reached for him instinctively, and he stepped forward to take her. Lena let her. You got the shot, Ethan said, eyeing her satisfied expression. She tossed him the film canister. Better? I got the story. While Ethan crowed over the negatives, Daniel lingered. Vivian wants to host Arya's birthday next week. If you're comfortable with that? Lena studied him, the careful distance he kept, the way Arya patted his cheek. With sticky fingers, growth, she realized, wasn't linear. We'll be there, she said. The National Geographic editor's office overlooked Manhattan's skyline. Lena sat straight-backed as the woman flipped through her portfolio. These are exceptional, the editor murmured, pausing on the Borneo series. But this, she tapped the last image. Arya's tiny hand on the zoo glass, the gorilla infants. Palm aligned perfectly on the other side. This is why we want you for the feature. Lena blinked. It's not wildlife. No, it's better. The editor leaned forward. It's connection. Threads between species, between parents and children, between ex-spouses. She slid a contract across the desk. We want a 12-page spread, your vision, your way. Lena's fingers trembled. As she signed this, she realized this is what freedom feels like. Arya's second birthday party spilled through Vivian's sunlit garden. Lena sipped lemonade, watching Daniel help their daughter blow out candles while Mateo visiting for the Geographic. Meetings charmed Vivian with stories of Andalusian vultures. Ethan nudged her. Look at you, Pulitzer contender. Co-parenting champ. He smirked. And is that a date with center sexy ornithologist later? Lena swatted him. It's a meeting about conservation grants? She laughed, but her gaze drifted to Daniel. He was smiling at Arya's frosting-smeared joy. No longer the man who'd prioritized power over love, Mateo appeared at her side, handing her a fresh drink. You're quiet, just thinking about negative space, she said. He followed her gaze, to where Arya now toddled between her father and grandmother, babbling happily. What's not there is as important as what is. Lena touched her camera, slung over the chair. The past 2 years had been about subtraction, losing a marriage, then rebuilding herself in the gaps. But now there was light. She raised her glass as Arya squealed with laughter. The sound as bright as any jungle dawn. Epilogue. 3 years later, the new exhibit was titled Threads. Lena adjusted the final frame, a triptych of Arya at 4. Daniel teaching her to fly a kite, and Mateo, now more than a colleague, showing her how to track bird migrations on a map. The third panel was her favorite, Arya asleep between them at the campsite, her tiny hands clutching Lena's finger and Mateo's field guide. Vivian arrived first, pressing a kiss to Lena's cheek. Proud of you. Writing next. Arya writing. His shoulders, Mommy. Daddy says I can be in National Geographic too. You already are, Lena said, tapping the photo of her daughter's first steps published in last month's issue. As the gallery filled, Mateo laced his fingers with hers. Ready for the next adventure? Lena looked at their intertwined hands, at Arya's paint-smeared jeans, at Daniel chatting easily with Ethan. The past was a closed aperture. The future, a wide-open shot. She squeezed Mateo's hand. Let's go.